Good morning, everyone. This is Mortgage Pros 411. I'm Audrey Boisneau with my co-host Kevin Casey, and today we are joined by Gina Pasquini, Social RX, who is going to enlighten us about
Google Business Profile.
I
Used
wanted
to
to
be
make sure I
known
got
as
the name right.
GMB. Yeah.
I just want to make
because
sure I got it right.
because everybody used to call it for a couple of years now, Google My Business, GMB, and then we all just call it GMB. But now it's Google Business Profile. So yeah.
There you go. So
Mhm.
just a few notes. Today I am in Southern California and just had the pleasure of listening to Chica Sundquist, the DRE commissioner, Department of Real Estate commissioner. And she's just great. Like, talk about having a great regulator. We really do. They're such a important partner. And so we'll have more from her later. Just want to take a moment and mention that we are now part of the Chrisman Commentary group. They're expanding the Chrisman Commentary daily offering, and they have a number of shows in their lineup every day of the week. We are representing the origination portion of our industry, so we're really happy about that, and we look forward to really expounding on that. So it's been an interesting week, to put it mildly, since we saw you last. A lot has happened. So we had our little BLS jobs report last week, and it came out after Jerome Powell spoke on Wednesday, and the Fed made the decision not to change the Fed funds rate, which nobody expected them to anyway, but they didn't. So they left things the same, but he indicated, yes, we're looking at it very carefully. We're really focused on unemployment or employment, and we'll see what happens. And then boom, on Friday, what did we get? The the BLS jobs report, the Bureau of Labor Statistics, my favorite report every month, because if you want to have a piece of inaccurate information, that's your game. So it came out, and surprisingly, they were not higher than they had projected. They were supposed to have, the expectation was they were going to post 185,000 jobs, new job creations. They posted 114,000, and of that, I mean, it was bleak, honestly. And the unemployment rate went to what, Kevin?
4.3.
4.3 from 4.1. And just to recap, 16 out of 19 of the Fed members had indicated previously that they did not expect for the unemployment rate to go over 4.1, which we thought was complete bupkis. And as it turns out, that is correct. It was complete bupkis. So the unemployment rate is now at 4.3, and it is very interesting. So look at this, though. So one of the things that we gripe about endlessly is they use something called the birth-death model, where they are projecting and doing modeling, and they're doing all sorts of guesses around how many businesses have either been created or died. So even for this month, where they were only showing 114,000 job creations, guess how much they said was part of the birth-death model? 246,000 jobs. So as we know that birth-death model is often revised downward later in months.
I like 90,000.
The average literally is 87,000 a month. That is correct. And ADP, which had come out earlier in the week, they had said that there were negative 7,000 job creations. So ADP says negative 7,000. BLS says there were 246,000 created. So let's just assume that $114,000 that 114,000 job creation number from BLS is maybe subject to revisions downward later. Regardless, at this point,
but no one will notice, and no one will care. No one will notice, and no one will care when they revise.
Oh my God. Yeah. Okay. So the good news is this. First of all, we are starting to see those job numbers reflect reality a little bit better than they have been in the past, right? And also, it has really shifted the expectation for what is going to happen with the Fed funds rate. So we are now at, actually, and it's changed, by the way, in the last couple of days. So like a few days ago, we were at 50 to 60% odds of a 50 basis point cut at the September 18th meeting. We are now up to a 75.5, don't ask me how they measure that, percent chance. And that's based on the Fed future. So with that, kids, you're noticing that the market is definitely changed, right? But as we've said many, many, many times, it is not a straight trajectory. So today is not the greatest day on the market. Do not lament. It is, that's how it goes. We go up, we go down, we go up, we go down, but we don't go straight, do we? But certainly the direction is we've been waiting for this, right?
Yep. This was good times for rates going down.
So good. Okay, so just a reminder. So not only are you going to be pinging your clients who might have bought in the last couple of years and have rates that are much higher than we are seeing today, but also they might be able to remove their mortgage insurance because values have continued to go up. They might be able to do a cash out refinance. They might be able to get out of an adjustable, or, now that the yield spread is compressing again and it's not as wide, we might have more options around adjustable mortgages. So I would also caution you, be careful of the EPOs, the early payoffs. And actually, just listening to the DRE commissioner, that was one of her points there. Kevin, you're aware of this because, you do loans. You know how that there are some brokers who thought, maybe I'll just charge that EPO to the borrower after it happens. She was so clear, don't do that.
Well,
Don't.
what?
I
You can't
know.
charge the borrower for an early payoff?
No, you cannot charge a borrower for an early payoff. And there has been a lot of controversy about this because some people have put disclosures in their upfront disclosure packet saying that, if you pay off early, you will be right? She's like, don't do it. Don't
Yeah, Audrey, you put in there, I'll just kick your ass, I think is what the term you put in your.
Yeah, because I am so mean. With that being said, this morning, Barry Habib, who's looking very good as he's nearing the end of his treatment, hopefully, he is saying that Fed funds might end up down in the 2.5% range. That does not mean 2.5% rates, kids, but still, it is that's Fed funds, not rates, but still, it's a huge decrease, right? So anyway, very, very interesting. And also I saw a very good quote from Rob Chrisman, and he said to remember that the stock market is not the economy. I thought that was such a good reminder for all of us. The stock market is not, so if you're watching the stock market tank, I mean, again, we go in cycles. I mean, this should have been expected. It's not going to go on forever, gangbusters, right?
Yep, and the Japanese stock market is definitely not the US economy.
Well, there was a whole thing about, hang on a second, what the heck is it
Well,
called?
because the Japanese Fed increased rates by a quarter, and now it's looking like the US Fed's going to drop rates. And so what investors were doing is like, well, shoot, I'm going to borrow from Japanese stock and get the money from my American investments and it's totally backfired on them. So
That's called the carry trade. And it's playing with the currency differential. I was just reading about this morning, Kevin. Funny you mentioned
how do
it.
I know these things?
I don't know. It's a miracle. Must be a miracle. Anyway, so yeah, so that's unwinding itself right now. But apparently we're only halfway through that process. So anyway, very, very interesting. The other thing that was good that came out this last week is that the Treasury has indicated that they are going to keep their auctions stable. So what happened, if you guys all remember, in 2023, we were supposed to have this great event where rates just plunged because inflation was going to get better, right? And then what happened? Then the Treasury decided, oh, we need more money. And they started just doing way more auctions than normal. And it screwed the market big time. And actually, the S word is something that I've never heard Barry Habib say it so many times, but lately he has. So anyway, it was a big problem, and it's really good for us that is not going to happen this time, according to what the Treasury is saying. So hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Okay. Anything else on that, Kevin?
No, I think we got a guest who's like jumping at the bit to.
I know listen, we're giving her a chance just to gather her thoughts so that she can bless us with all of this information. So everyone buckle up, because we're going to learn how to do something that is, Gina, tell us what this is doing for your clients right now, in the real estate and mortgage industry.
Okay, so there's many different social media platforms. So the best way I could describe this, the easiest way is it's Google Business Profile is, just for the Google search engine, to when anyone searches right now and they're looking for, a realtor, a lender, in their area. So the key is in their particular market, their particular area. And they can search you up right away. And there's different levels to the whole program. If you do the organic free program, then they can find you no matter, what they're searching for. You want to make sure that you put in your keywords and this and that. There's a little bit of work up front. Let's just put it that way. But once you get it set up, it's really cool because pretty much it's free. And then if you want to go with their next level program, you can go with like a paid program where I think it's roughly around $50 a month. And then it's like almost like the pay-per-click ads on Facebook and YouTube and all that, where the amount that you pay for each lead varies on, it's like a bidding process, so to speak. But once you're part of that Google Guarantee program, now Google guarantees that you have a license. They verify your license, they verify your insurance, and then they will actually send calls right to your phone. So a little bit similar to the Zillow program, right? In the old days or whatever.
Okay, so let's stop there for 1 second because
Okay.
we know someone, you and I, who went to set up their business profile, and you have to provide photos and you have to do certain things, right? And
Yep.
after clicking through, they clicked too far and ended up being shut out of something because they thought they were going to save $500. Tell us how to avoid that.
Just
Kevin,
click.
do you want to tell us how to avoid that?
You're mean,
Yeah,
Audrey.
I resemble that remark. Hey, you want to save
Oh my
$500, hey, yeah, I'll save $500. Oh, wait, it's gonna cost me $1,000 to save $500? Oh,
Yeah. They forgot to tell you that you have to pay $500 to get their match of $500. Yeah.
Yes.
So Kevin, here's one simple, easy word, 4 letters you could have done: skip. So
Yeah.
guys, just click skip right there.
Or how about this? Read. That's another 4-letter.
No. That doesn't work. I don't do that.
It didn't work for Kevin because he chose not to read. But be careful. What my point is, don't click without knowing what you're clicking on, because it can cause some problems, right? Have you been able to unwind that yet, Kevin?
Yes, I had to. I discovered that my company email has a backdoor email to it that is actually the real email, and I'm able to use that email on
Good.
my business one. So yes,
Great.
So you just went in under a pseudonym, is what you're saying. You went in
An
under
alternate profile. How about an alternate
Yeah,
profile?
different profile. It's actually our original one. So what happened when we took over our company, changed the name, and they just kept the base one, and then they added the pseudonym to it. So that made sense. I got really lucky on that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
well, we know in technology there's ways around everything. So it's just taking the time to figure it out, So
Okay. So somebody wants to do this, and so they get started by doing what?
So they just go to the Google Business Profile, just go Google Business Profile and just jump in. That's just for the free basic program. That's just to get you locally set up in your area, in your marketplace for your industry. It walks you through. It's really super easy. It is a little time consuming, and depending on how tech savvy we are, it can be a little more challenging for some than others. But it really does walk you through quite easily, except for that one spot right there where it wants to sell. Google wants to sell you something else, or
Right.
Google wants
Shockingly.
to. Yeah. So that gets a little hairy right there. Skip the things you're not sure of. Most importantly, just create your title. Your title should look just like your business card does, Audrey Boisano, and who you want people to know you are. That's it. Title. Google looks at that. They look at your address. They look at your phone number. And one key thing that I've discovered over just the last couple months, they really look at your website. What are you connected to? So if you're connected to, so what I tell a lot of the lenders, realtors, and so on that are connected to big chains, big, larger corporations, do a landing page, a 1-page website, do a landing page or have someone do it for you that links over to that website, because you can't really control what corporate's doing, right? You can't, You can only control what you're connected to. And Google looks at the relevancy and the consistency, and then of course reviews. So I was in a group meeting this morning with Google. What they really are looking for is about 40 reviews to get started. What they look for is about 30 photos, and the photos are a mix of, you know, the outside of your building, your signage, maybe your desk space, your help, you know, your staff happily working, maybe some clients that you have worked with in the past, a few clients.
Who've agreed to
photos.
be photographed and posted online?
Well, see that, and that's a good
Yeah.
point, Audrey. Very good point, because some people don't want that. So I even have to be careful as I'm helping people. Like I worked with probably 6 people just in the last 2 days. I can't really post that stuff even on here without asking them, is it
Yeah.
okay if I show your stats? You know, over the last 7 months, you know, we've moved quite a few people actually up from being way down on the lower part of the first page of Google, right up to what we call the map pack, which is right where that map shows up, especially on mobile devices. So if you're driving down the street, right, and you're looking for a restaurant, a health club, a coffee shop, whatever you're looking for, you search that, and that's called, you know, near me or around me. The people that have done the work on this particular program, even the free version of the program, are going to pop up right there in 1, 2, or 3. And 1, 2, 3 slots, we call that the map pack.
Mm.
So it's kind of funny right now when I'm watching some of my clients, they're fighting over those 3 spots. And
Oh.
so, especially if they're in the same area, right?
Right.
So one is in 3rd, and he's like, well, I know just how to do it now. All I have to do is make one more post and put one more picture in and say, and then in 2 hours, I'm back up at number 1. So,
Oh, nice.
yeah.
But it sounds like
That's-
it's something you have to stay on top of. You can't just do this and then walk away from it and never engage again, because all of a sudden you'll disappear, right?
Exactly. A good point too, because yes, the person that first, I think it was a couple of years ago, the mentor I had that was sort of showing, you know, me how to do all this and everything. That his statistic was, he said, Google says 92% of people set it up once and walk away. That's not gonna,
92%.
And it doesn't work that way.
That sounds about right.
I like this idea because it helps the people that are active with it versus the people that just pay for it. Like the recent thing I've noticed with Google is when I do a search, and I was searching for something that I don't remember what it was. I think it was plumber supply or something like that. And I Googled, you know, it, and I knew not to click on the sponsored links. And I went all the way down, and there was nothing else after the sponsored links. It was like, okay, I don't want this. I can't even find what I want. But I am now starting to use the Google Maps for things. You know, I have to give it my location. That's the one trick when you do a Google map, is allow it to know where you are, which I don't always like Google knowing everything. But you know, it's nice. It works. You can find that restaurant. You can find that, you know, hardware store. You can find, you know, oh, you know, what is it you're looking for? It's a lot easier and faster. So
yep.
So
Yeah.
okay, so tell me what your aversion to clicking on a sponsored link is.
Because, and I don't remember the search I was doing, but I knew it would take me down a rabbit hole of things I didn't want. I wanted to buy something, not be sold something I don't want. And when you click on this, the search, the sponsored ones, they're all selling something else. I literally was looking for something that was $1. So who, no one's going to try and make money on it. But I just need to know who would sell that thing.
Okay.
It was funny you mentioned that, Kevin, because I actually was on a call this morning, like I said, with Google, and a group of us were talking about this. And there seems to be a startup of people, because there's the Google Guaranteed program. So you're Google verified, and you get like a blue circle with a white check mark in it. And then you're Google Guaranteed. So you have to be Google verified in order to have your Google business profile be seen by the masses.
Fair enough. Yeah, I get that.
And so, but then there's Google Guarantee, which is a whole nother program that they offer now, which is where you pay for it. And that's where you see the sponsored name, or this little sponsor next to it.
Yep.
And people this morning, that's what our conversation was about actually, is why are people starting to be really quickly adverse to when it says sponsor versus whether
Uh-huh.
you show up
I
1,
won't click
2,
on
and
the
3.
sponsored one. I just
You
won't.
won't, okay.
And it used to be only the top 3 were sponsored.
Mhm.
And now I'm finding like you can go all the way down. They're all sponsored, 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 sponsored. And then you can't find anything that's not sponsored.
I think it's because people are catching on to this program. And I was playing in it the last couple of days with a few other marketing people. And what we discovered is that it rotates, because we kept on our computers, we were all like playing dueling computers, and I'm like, okay, put in this as the keyword, real estate agents in Walnut Creek, lenders in Walnut Creek, lenders in Newport Beach. I had a bunch of Newport Beach people on there. So we were playing with that, and even changing whether you capitalize Newport Beach or whether you keep it small, or whether you put the word in inserted in there, or whether you take that out. You just put, like, let's say mortgage brokers, Newport Beach, and don't even put in. But then if you put the word in there, it changed the way people showed up. It's so like really picky.
Wow.
So
Like,
yeah, it was
how
interesting.
do you figure out what the better way is?
So there's a couple things you can do. You can use keyword planner tools, and some you can pay for, but Google actually has a free. You just go to Google keyword planner. You can, Google it. And once you go there, it'll help you choose what people are searching for. But there's also Google Trends. And you know how when you just start to search in Google, you type 1, 2 words, and then more words pop up behind it. Well, it's in order by what people are looking for. So you can
Right.
see the top ones are what people are searching for. And so you can choose it that way too.
Okay. So let's say there is somebody listening who would rather chew on glass than try and do this themselves. Can you please explain to us, because I've talked to you a number of times and you have talked about the people that you're working with and what has happened with them, what you've done for them, and how this has impacted their businesses. So can you please walk us through that?
Yes. So I have a few that actually are part. So I have like a handful that are part of the Google Guarantee program, because we wanted to test it. So for the last 6 months, we had some people log in, are willing to throw money at it and things like that. But I can really quickly see that Google's seeing the little dollar signs there, and they're raising the price of the leads. So when we first started that piece of it, which is a small portion of it, we were probably paying anywhere from $45 to $85 a lead. And you can, let's say you get a competitor that calls you and wants to rack your brain, because the calls come right to you. They're not just leads that someone sends you. The calls actually come right to your phone. But let's say it's someone, just your competition, kind of jacking you around a little bit. They have a dispute line, and you could dispute that and get that charge taken off. But now today, this morning, I was talking to 3 people that are on that program, and they're all up around the 145 range per lead. But I'll tell you the one thing that one of them said, and he does both real estate and lending. He said that, but the calls that come in, they're ready to move. Like they're not someone thinking, yeah, that's what he keeps saying. He's like, they're not someone thinking like 6 months down the road, I might want to do blah, blah, blah. They actually are ready to move on it right now, just right now. And he was showing buyers property off of a call he took 2 days earlier. So,
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So hang on.
That,
Okay. So I thought $45 a lead was insanity. Now you're saying 145, but they're real. And they've got some track record on this.
Oh, he's already got like 4 or 5 properties. He's even got a commercial one already in escrow and stuff. So he's doing really great with it.
Wow. And so okay, so he's doing it and paying the money, but then there's this other component that you're saying is free.
Right.
I mean, what are you seeing as a difference? Like the people who are just doing the free one, are they having that kind of result? Or do you have to spend money to make this happen?
So they're not getting live phone calls coming in as much as he is.
Why is that? Is it structured that way? So
yeah.
Okay. All right. Fair enough.
Google's funneling those phone calls, and they get to control everything, of course. So,
Right.
And that's why I was saying,
listen in on the phone calls.
What?
And do they listen in?
And I'm sure they do. So probably
Terrifying.
So it's just like,
if you click through on the phone number through Google, I bet they are able to listen in. Just
Oh, I'm guessing absolutely, no doubt about that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so you
no
might want
doubt.
them to, let me call you back, so Google's not listening in on this call anymore, if you're gonna give me personal information.
Yeah, because if you
Oh
think about
gosh,
it,
that's not that's a good point,
Mm,
actually. If,
mhm.
oh, holy guacamole. Okay, good reminder. Good thinking.
Yeah, absolutely. And they're paying attention to a lot. Well, they're recording all the information, let's face it. I mean, it didn't Zillow do that, and Realtor.com and
I
all
have
these
no
other
idea.
ones.
I've never bought a lead, so I don't know. So tell us.
Yeah, so they are paying attention, and that's probably why we're seeing things changing so fast, which is why I'm on all these calls, either with the Google group or with other marketing groups, and we're comparing notes and figuring it out. But I even saw the price go up. I mean, it's only been a year and the price is probably tripled if you want to pay for
Yeah,
them.
no, I remember a similar thing with, when the internet first started, I was buying Google ads, way back in the day for click links. And you know, at first it started, it was like $1 or something a link, and I was like, okay, this is worth something. But then
Mm-hmm.
the price quickly spiraled into the hundreds and like $1,000 a link or connect. I'm like, okay, this doesn't make sense. So
Well, it's just it was the same for Facebook, right? Look at how
yeah.
high the Facebook ads are now. And so right
Mhm.
now the cheapest ads you can get are actually YouTube, you know.
Yeah.
So but probably pretty soon that will change as well.
Yep.
Well,
So
and
It's always changing.
I just want to
mhm,
say that, so I have a buddy who has a company that they developed a CRM, and he works with a lot of companies that buy leads. And let me just say, if you're going to do this, have your phone on and be ready to take them always, because the response time from these call centers who are buying these leads is literally seconds. It's not minutes, it's not days, it's not, when the movie's over. It is literally, you have seconds, and you better be on it. So I would imagine this is similar, where you need to be really paying attention. Is that true, G?
yeah, but I'd like to mention one difference in that. So
Okay.
yes, you are correct about that. But the one difference is they are calling you direct. And actually, I've got like 2 test cases. I followed everything for the last year with them, and they answer the phone right away. But they even both asked some of the people that were calling them, "Why did you choose me over the other 3?" So they're the 3 in the map pack, right? The 3 showing up next to the map when you search them. But he said, "Well, why did you choose me?" Because he maybe was number 3 at that point, and she said, "Because you picked up the phone. The other 2 let it go to voicemail." And that spoke volumes right
Yeah.
there. So
It
your
really
point.
does. And
So
it
yeah,
is,
I had an interesting thing with we tried Zillow leads with our company one time, and we would get literally, I could see coming. It was back when I had the old desk line, um,
Mhm,
and it would show up on the line. It's a Zillow lead, so I would
mhm,
know, and I'd be talking to somebody. I could see Zillow leads calling in, so I had to dump off whatever call I was on, and it might have been I was on hold with an underwriter for the last hour, trying to get resolve an issue. And now I got to dump off to answer the Zillow lead.
mhm,
And Zillow leads were never anything like what you're saying you're getting from Google leads. I always found them to be like the bottom of like the world's population. That's how I'm gonna leave it. These people,
mhm,
they were clueless. Oh, I'm in front of a house and I want to buy it. It's only $100,000. This is in the San Francisco market where 1.5 million was common purchase price, right? And I'm like, where are you
mhm.
seeing a house for $100,000? Like, and and it was just a rabbit hole. And so yeah, it's good to hear that this works. It's not like a waste of my time, and I have to jump off an important phone call just to grab a wasted call.
we have
Well, yeah,
we have a
exactly. And can I, oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I was just gonna say, we have a comment here saying a second phone helps. My second phone costs $10 a month. Someone posted in the chat. So that's a thought, but still, you got to
Yeah,
be on it.
they still
All
got
right.
to dump off, and you got to, you could be on another call. And how many times are we like in the middle of a conversation and, oh wait, I got to jump off for this phone call. So
Hey, I know people who dump me off their phone calls all the time to talk to someone else. So
no,
anyway, Gina, what were you gonna say?
Well, I was gonna say, well, now you jog my memory on something else, but I was like, I just get Google numbers and I forward them all to my phone, but I can see by when they're coming in, what business of mine they're coming off of. So I know whether it's like really urgent for me to pick them up or not. They're just free. Google gives you free numbers, and
They do?
I get them in different area codes too. Yeah. So that I want to see where the business because I cover the United States, where it's coming in from. So I really like that, but it can get a little hairy because you're right. It's still one phone. But before I forget, there's one thing I want to say about what we were just talking about, Zillow leads versus Google business profile leads. So whether you're paying for them or you're not, they're coming in off of a specific search. And they're only coming to you because they searched what they searched, and for the work that you did and for the time you put in to get yourself up there at the top, you pop up, and they're just coming to you, or they're calling 1, 2, and 3, whatever, but they're specifically calling you and maybe one other person, right? And they're going to talk to whoever they talk to. With Zillow, that lead goes to a lot of different realtors. And like Kevin was saying, and like you were saying, you got to get there as fast as possible. Now, granted, you do have to answer because, like I just gave the example, a couple people told one of my realtors right out, well, you picked up, the other two didn't. So there's that. But the other thing is the lead isn't going to 15 or 50 people.
Right. Okay, so that is a hugely different and important distinction because, again, this is not like a trigger lead and these people are being bombarded. They're searching and then choosing to call you. I mean, that's like night and day, right? So
Yeah.
that actually makes a lot of sense and explains why there's such a big difference and why someone might be having success here. So, oh, I love that. Okay. So,
Yeah, and then earlier in the conversation, you mentioned what's the difference between like well, you said free and paid, and how well are the free people doing? But one thing I'd like to elaborate on before it escapes my mind is that on the free program, there's just a few things you have to know that Google's paying a little bit more attention to. So once you get verified to do it, because they still have to verify you, and typically that is going out and taking a video of your office, your brick and mortar, if you have a brick and mortar. If you don't have a brick and mortar and you have shared space, you'll have to have, they're making it stricter now where you have to have signage over your desk, permanent signage and stuff like that. So they're making it a little, yeah, they used to just do it by text or phone call. They don't anymore for the most part. You have to do a video and let them see it, let them see it's a real business. Cause we got the scammers, right? No matter what our industry, we got the scammers. But one thing that I found is tripping up a lot of people. Let's say we got 5 people, they're all in the same industry and they're all doing the free program. And some are like, oh, I'm doing so great. I'm at number 1, I'm at number 2. And then some are like, crap, I'm like way at the bottom. It's because of either your consistency, how much you're seeing on you're seeing all over the internet. So other platforms, I can Google Audrey's name and I can see her in 16 different places, versus I could Google Gina's name. Yeah. Right. Or Kevin's, and I see you in one place. Google pays attention to that.
Interesting.
So yeah.
I just, as a lark, I just Googled mortgage lender in Walnut Creek and under Google Maps. So
okay.
The first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 lenders are all companies. So I would not be inclined to call a company. It's like, okay, but I would call if it says an individual. So a Nick.
don't say a name. Do not say a name.
Huh?
Don't say a name.
That's why after
anything, man.
I know that's why
Merrick and
a
Casey all popped up, and but it's you have to go down like to the 15th person to find the last one.
Well,
so
because the
companies that are taking advantage of this, but I would say a potential client is going to call an individual, not a company.
Exactly. Because you know why? Because companies are throwing the money at it. So they're hiring a marketing person. A lot of them have in-house marketing people, and they're doing all this work that we're talking about right now. And I know it's a lot of work for an individual, but all I talk about with my company and my team and all we work with is mostly, it was in the old days when I first started it, like back in 15 or 16, I was working with lots of big companies and lots of big contracts, but now it's all about branding yourself.
Right.
So I'm working with groups of people on Zoom calls, because I used to do it individually. I don't have that kind of time anymore, but branding themselves, branding yourself. Who are you? You can work for a big company, and that's why we do like the bridge pages or the landing pages over
Mhm.
from, let's say, your Google page to your big company website. So you've got the best of both worlds, right? You're branding Kevin, you're branding Audrey, but then you're branding the company that you work for. I
Right.
mean, you're branding you first, and then you're
Right.
attaching yourself to the expertise and to the weight of the company that you're with. So,
So I would imagine you have the resources for someone who may need a landing page, correct?
yeah, yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so if there is a piece that someone is missing, you are able to plug them into wherever they need to go to get that done. Yes?
yeah. So we do landing pages, websites, SEO, public relation stuff, PR pieces. Because there's another thing, with your website linking back, right? Getting that SEO, you got to link back. And, there's tools now with AI that you can, I mean, people could actually do it themselves, but of course, then you got to learn the tool, you got to learn the program. And that is
Yes.
a challenge for some people. And so a lot of times I just start people on, we'll set it up for you, we'll do it for you. But then eventually they're like, okay, well, I can do this, or my in-house person can do this or whatever. And we just show them the tools they could use to get it done too.
Right.
So
Right.
there's lots of different, I do lots of advertising, lots of Facebook ads. I have a whole team that just does Facebook ads, YouTube ads, and Google ads, the regular Google ads, the PPC, not the search ads that we've just been talking about. So that's a
So
whole different.
here's something that I'm always like beating the drum on, making sure that everything you're putting out there is compliant, right? And a
Mhm.
lot of people don't have in-house compliance teams, and they don't have people who will review their marketing. But guess what I learned this morning? The DRE, Department of Real Estate in California, and if you're in a different state, I would check with your individual Department of Real Estates, whatever it is where you are. They will review your advertising, including your website, for $100. And
Oh, really?
so they're not doing that so that they can nail you to the cross. They are doing that to help you be compliant and make
That's
sure
friggin'
that
great.
it's, yeah, $100 and you're good to go with your regulator. Oh
Yeah.
my God. I think that
Except
is,
is that per review?
pardon me?
Is that per review? Only because my experience with our compliance department is I had a postcard that I have used many times and cleared by the compliance department. And it came up, the annual, it was on that little ad, and I've told this story before. This is why I don't advertise anymore. But it was just a thank you for your referrals. Is all I had put on the thing, and then my name and information. And I had previously sent it to the compliance department, and they had given me the thumbs up. They said, change this or add this little bit of things. And that was it. Well, then the
Mhm.
next time they started making all these changes, it was like, my God, there was like 15 different changes I had to make. And then it was like, well, this doesn't make sense because there's no room for my message of thank you for my referrals with all the other data I have to put onto the little postcard or the little ad, quarter page of ad. And so I started getting smart about, okay, no, this is what they're telling me, but that's not going to work for a customer. So let me think from a customer's point of view. How do I present this to a customer in a way that the compliance department is also going to like it? But we went back and forth 7 times. I have a feeling that DRE would charge me $100 per time.
Well,
Maybe not. I don't know.
I don't know either. And the thought did cross my mind when she was speaking, but I thought, that's a question for later, just to clarify, because that's valid. I mean, if you're doing
I
all sorts
love
of
that idea.
advertising, is that a each piece, etc.? Or maybe you just pick a couple things that you're doing and you plug into that every time, maybe anyway, we'll find out. But
Well,
bottom
and
line is,
$100 is a whole lot cheaper than the fine.
it's also okay, cheaper than the fine, but also cheaper than you're going to pay some compliance company,
Huh?
presumably, and they're not your regulator. And so, I mean, Kevin and I were both listening to somebody speak the other day, and they said that, oh, it is not legal to charge for this fee. And I went to the compliance department and I went to the credit company that, just to see, do you agree with this? And they were wrong. This person who was stating that they knew everything and that they were a compliance company, they were wrong. And so you
Interesting.
got to be super careful about where you're getting information from. And if you've got
Yes.
the ability, if you have the ability to go straight to your regulator and find out from them that you're good to go, hallelujah, I think.
I love that.
Well, and remember, guys, one thing about that, it changes just
Yes.
like Google changes, Facebook changes, YouTube changes, everything changes.
So do
And trying
government
to stay up,
regulations.
yeah, it all changes. And
Yes.
so it's hard to stay up on all that. And I just actually had a company reach out to me a couple months ago and said, I can help. We are the regulating side. We'll help you regulate. But then, like what you're saying, Audrey, you got to trust that company to regulate.
Absolutely.
And we can't absolutely know everything. I don't know everything. I mean, I know how to get the answers, but I don't know everything.
Yeah, the best example of that one was like, even though you know everything in your state and on a federal level, you don't know everything in every other state. And just because you're not licensed in another state, if your company is, you follow under their regulations. The best example of that is the state of Washington. And so if, people don't realize that if they are, working for a company that's licensed in the state of Washington, but they're only licensed in, per se, California, they still fall under Washington rules, which is kind of crazy. So like, that's why you would have to make sure that your NMLS number is right adjacent to your name in all your advertising because of a Washington rule, not because of a California rule or a federal rule. So it's just weird little things like that LOs have to look out for.
It is. I forget what I was listening to recently. I was actually kind of bummed out afterwards because it was just so heavy and it felt so, like we have so much to deal with as loan officers. We are, you have to go get your borrowers and you have to make sure you do it compliantly. And I think it was around that, it's around how do you acquire your clients and then this person who was perfectly happy, they were told by someone else, oh, you could sue for that because that was wrong. And, it's just so dark. And I don't want to focus on that, but it's a lot that we have to, go get a client, make sure you do everything compliantly, make sure you know all the current guidelines, make sure that you're marketing, make sure, and, so when some of us say, okay, I'm going to do all that other stuff, but I cannot fit marketing into my world. Something's got to give. It's too much. It's not like we just do one job. We're, supposed to be marketers and processors and originators and compliance people. And so again, it is so important that you have resources, you reach out to them, you let them help you. Don't assume that you have to know everything because people love it when you're like, I just want to make sure, right? They want you to make sure that you're right. They're going to wait for that. Most of them. And if they don't, let them go talk to some other ding dong down the road who doesn't give a crap since they don't either, and knock yourself out, see what happens. Right. So, but again, you're going to walk people through this and you'll carry some of this other than they've got to provide the photos, which Kevin, how did you go about doing that? How did you come up with 30? It's like 30 photos you had to give her, right? Or something crazy like that. So what did you take pictures of and how did you do that?
Wait, when did I have to get photos?
Oh, for your Google business profile.
So the photos I just went online with what I had. Photos.
You just took other people's businesses? How'd you do that?
No, I had done a presentation a while back. And so I drove around San Francisco and took pictures of homes for that presentation. And so I had those photos still in my phone. So do you
just use random things to indicate that you're in the mortgage and real estate industry? Is that? Oh, interesting. All right. And they took it.
Yeah.
Can I throw something in on that, guys? So
please, by all means.
So first off, let me just say, most of the people I work with don't start with 30 photos right out of the gate, because asking a realtor or a lender, which is my biggest, I work with attorneys too, and I work with a few chiropractors and a few plastic surgeons, but I mean, mostly it's been realtors and lenders just because that's what I've been in for almost 30 years. But most people don't have those photos, even in a place where they can even find them all in one organized folder, right? You got to find that. You got to find your bio. You got to find out what you want to say for your description, all that kind of stuff. So just start somewhere. I guess all I'm saying is just start. Don't worry about having the perfect picture right out of the gate.
Yep.
And then the other thing I noticed that a lot of people, especially in real estate and lending, are so used to just posting what they sold, what they have listed, their client photos. They forget about all the rest of their lives. Well, hey, what about the parks that you walk around in the communities where you're selling the properties?
Yep.
What, all that stuff. People want to see you walking your dog in the park, or, whatever monument, national monument you might have there, or some ancient house that might be really cool. And they want to see stuff, the coffee shop you go to on the corner, the mom and pop's coffee shop, or the local taco place that has awesome tacos, the mom and pop. That's the kind of stuff you got to add in too, as well. And Google picks up on all that, because think about what people are searching for when they're driving around in your community.
Right.
Audrey, Walnut Creek, or, with you, Kevin, like,
Yep.
San
And they
Francisco.
know what's in your
or,
photos too, which is crazy too.
yeah. Yeah. And they're looking for stuff like, I know Google knows it all. So, and the algorithms through Google picks up on that stuff. And that's where I think what I find when I start working with people, that's where they're kind of missing the boat. They're so focused on the old school way that we did it, right? What's sold, what's listed,
Right.
and our clients.
Right.
No, put some personal stuff in there, because remember, people have to like, know, and trust you to do business with you.
Right.
Well, if I'm only seeing you like everybody else, what you sell and what you list, well, how do I know if I even like you?
Yeah.
Right.
What if I, so that's one really huge thing that I
Right.
think, if we could step that up, that really will make a difference whether you're in the 1, 2, 3 or position.
Can you?
Yeah, I just also want to remind everybody right now that the video we did with you previously, Gina, was the first week of January. So if you go to our YouTube shows, and please subscribe to YouTube, by the way. Our subscriber list is growing fairly nicely, but we'd love to kick it up a little bit more.
So just,
and-
it's Mortgage Pros
and then-
411 on YouTube.
Yeah, just Mortgage Pros 101 on YouTube. Subscribe to that. You'll get a notice every time we upload. Like when this show uploads, you'll get a notice that this show has been uploaded. So if you missed last week's show, as soon as it's uploaded, you'll get a notice of it. And sometimes, I know Jason's great. Usually it's the same week, but sometimes, life gets in the way and it's 2 weeks later. So,
Well,
but
so
yeah.
he had COVID and he was sick. He was very.
Come on. I had
got-
COVID. I still showed up on the show.
No, okay, don't even get me started. Okay, with that being said, he was behind a little bit. He's now got everything up to date, because there were people asking in previous weeks, where is it? They're all up there, and he is going to really work on getting them posted a little quicker, because again, we are needing them for the Crispin commentary website as well. So they're going to make it the same link apparently. So
But
anyways,
anyhow, on that video, why I pointed out is Gina, in that one, we walk people through how to do it. And
yeah, that was a little more basic than because now fast forward, 7, 8 months, whatever
8
it
months,
is.
yeah.
Yeah,
It's been 8
there's
months.
so many things I learned, and before we hang up, I want to mention one other thing, because it's critical to something Audrey had said, but I'll wait for you to say this. Yeah, that video was really a lot more basic. And what I do a lot on my weekly Zoom calls, training clients, again, mostly realtors and lenders, is we walk through, and we even take examples from the crowd, so to speak, from who's ever on the Zoom call, and we let them show their screen, or, and there's 3 of us on, actually, that are all involved in the program for Google. And we walk them through, and we even critique what they've done, and or encourage them to do more, or tell them what they should change, or, and we take people from the audience just to do that. So, because we've learned all these details in helping people set this up over the last 8 months. So.
Right. Okay. So you wanted to share something else. What was that?
Yeah. So one big mistake. So what you were talking about a while ago, earlier in the call, you were mentioning what determined who gets up to the front, if everybody's doing the right things, right? And if everybody's posting like they should, and so on and so forth. There's one thing, and there's one thing that's important to know. Don't change a whole bunch of things. Don't remove anything unless you really, really have to. And don't change a whole bunch of things all at the same time. So let's say I go in
like what, give me examples of what you mean.
Okay,
Like,
so like lenders
what?
realtors move around and lenders move around, right? And so now I suddenly go in there and I change my address, And I'll probably keep my phone number the same,
Right.
but maybe I need a new website now because I left my company, so I need a different website. And now I change some of my locations where I do business, and maybe even change your title. You know, I had someone that just wanted to take the hyphen out of their title. She got put on notice to be re-verified just because she took a hyphen, because the title is the most important thing. So while you're setting this up, make sure, and the best way to say it is whatever's on your sign, whatever's on your business card, that should be your title. Because
Right.
sometimes people say, should I be a broker? Should I be a real estate agent? Should I be, you know, what should I
Okay,
say?
actually, we can make this very simple for people. You need to be advertising with whatever NMLS thinks your title is. That's how you choose it. It's
Mhm.
whatever
Unless you're
is
a real
on,
estate agent,
pardon
then
me?
you look at what the DRE has or your rate.
I'm telling you, NMLS, it needs to be, if you're a lender, it needs to be whatever NMLS thinks your title is. That is, I know for certain.
But what if
So
you have
that simplifies it for
AKAs
us.
with NMLS?
Pardon me?
What if you have AKAs with NMLS? See, I run into
Well,
that.
then I would think you're fine. Like, again, go to NMLS and see what you have down and go with that.
That's good.
No need to complicate it. Okay.
Yeah, so like Google just said, what's on your business card? That's what we want to see. And that's also why they want you to take a video of, if you're, let's say, in a shared space, they got to see that it's your company, your name, everything. Basically, everything has to be congruent. Everything has
Right.
to be the same. When they look you up on the internet, they want to see everything the same, not a whole bunch of different companies. So here's a great example real quickly. I just had a client who operates in Vegas and operates in Florida. She owns a house in Florida. She belongs to a brokerage in Florida, but she also works for a real estate investment association, the RIA Group, out of Vegas, and does real estate in Vegas, and she's licensed both places. Google got all completely confused about 5 months ago when we were doing this, and they just basically shut it all down. They wouldn't approve anything for her until she had to do some steps to verify. We had to help work her through it to verify, yes, she indeed does work on both coasts, and it really is real, and she's not just a scammer, you know, she's not trying to
Right.
scam people. So, and I think that's their biggest fear. So
Well,
Well,
especially since she's out of
I have this,
Vegas and Florida. That's,
I have the same situation where I am licensed at a Walnut Creek location and San Francisco location. Both are on my business card, both are in NMLS. You know what I mean? So it's
Yep.
like as you were talking through that, I'm like, I don't know what would happen with me, because mine could be a little confusing too.
Okay,
So
well, the first thing they're going to look at, Audrey, is, are both of your locations listed on your business card, both
yes,
brick and mortar locations?
yes.
Then you'll be fine. And actually, if both are brick and mortar, you can list those as two separate. So, oh, you got more homework to do. You're going to have two Google business profiles because you would list each one separately. Yeah,
how about
unfortunately.
if you're licensed in multiple places? So like I have an Oregon license. How do I deal with that?
Well, are you marketing in Oregon?
Not right now, but
Well,
I'm
that's
thinking
where
this would be a good way of, putting
that's where
marketing.
you're okay. Two things, two answers to that. One is that's where your description comes into place. You get 750 characters for your description, but even bigger than that, your geo areas, your geographic areas, you can list up to, I think it's 20 now, up to 20 geographic areas that you want to market in. Ooh, which brings me to, this is a really good tip too that I discovered a few months ago, is a lot of people will list their geographic area. Let's say Audrey's location in Walnut Creek, right? She'll put her address in there when she creates her profile. Google will allow the searches for like 30-mile radius of that. But if she didn't go into the geo area and list all the areas she covers, it will only recognize that 30-mile radius. You are better off going into the geographic area, making sure you list every area where you want to sell or lend in, whether you're a realtor or lender, where you want to work in.
So do you want to, so she's in Walnut Creek, and right next door to Walnut Creek is Pleasant Hill. Would you want to list Pleasant Hill, or
Absolutely.
Even though it's right next door, it's well within the 30-mile radius?
I would still list it because the searches pick up all the keywords which are going to show up in the geographic area. Now, you don't have to list it in your description because you're only allowed 750 characters. in the description, you want to talk about more who you are, what you do. But in the geographic area, you want to list every area you want to work in, because Google will put that out into all those areas.
And it probably, especially the little tiny neighborhood areas like maybe Clayton instead of just Concord or.
Yeah,
Danville,
or-
Lafayette, Orinda. I mean, you're going the wrong
I know what
direction,
you're
buddy.
thinking on. See, she's discriminating against people. She's going for the rich people. I'm just mentioning the poor ones, you know.
Let me tell you something. You live in Pleasant Hill right now. You're not poor there either. Like it is astounding what's happened to the property values there, but still, I'm like, it's so fun. I'm listening to pick out names. I'm like, that is so far away. And that's not even, anyway. Yeah.
And one other tip is let's say you put in your geographic areas, because I think it allows up to like 20 or I don't know, but you put in your geographic area. It's usually plenty for what everyone's looking for. But remember, when you make your posts now, you get up to 1,500 characters, and you can have pictures, you can have video. And so you post that and you put, I'm in Lafayette. I went to this really great coffee shop on my way to my first meeting, or, pick anything you want to say. And it doesn't have to be a lot. You don't have to say a lot, and you don't have to have anything more than even a 15-second video of you walking up to I'm just going into my favorite coffee shop. Here's what I'm doing. Done. And post it. And
Now,
Google will pick all that up.
Would you also want to put in your areas like districts, like in San Francisco, would you put down that North Beach is,
the Richmond or.
Yep, absolutely. So we call it niching down. Absolutely niche down. I have a client in Palm Springs. Well, he did an office in Newport Beach too, but he works a lot in Palm Springs, and he's got a neighborhood. I think it's Tierra Verde or so, I don't know, some neighborhood in that area. And he talks about the community. He drove through it the other day and said, look at the open houses that are going. He's a lender there, and just showed a quick 15-second, look, I'm driving around. It's really hot today. It's 124 degrees. Then he showed the temperature on his car dial. See, all that is stuff that Google picks up, because when it's hot, people are Googling where it's hot, or they're talking about it, right? And they're talking about Palm Springs, keyword, the heat at 124, keyword, then the name of the community, keyword. And then he showed, like, for 15 seconds, a few of the houses. He goes, I'm going in. I don't care how hot it is. Okay, talk to you guys soon. Boom, done. He posted it on
posting this on his Google business profile, not because usually when we say posting, we're like, Instagram or LinkedIn or Facebook. So this is completely separate from this. You upload it to Google and post it there.
Yep, you do it the same as you would on Facebook. You do it on Google, but then he posts it to all of that. So he'll post it to Facebook, Instagram, because you can do that at the same time, just using Meta, the little business platform. And then he does it on Google Business Profile first, because that's where he's getting the most, traction. But he does it. Well, if you're going to do it once, you might as well. And there's tools out there like Thrive, or Thrive's really good. It's a newer one, but that one's good. And then there's a Hootsuite, where you can actually post one time. You can even create a month's worth of posting and pictures and everything, and let it go out to up to 10, 15, whatever platforms you have, and it'll all post at the same time.
So Gina, let's assume that a percentage of people are going to do this on their own. A percentage of the people are going to do nothing, and a percentage of the people would like to call you. So how would someone call Gina Pasquini, and what is your contact information?
Okay, so I did put it on the flyer as well.
Perfect.
But they can either, just call.
Check their email.
Yeah, you could email me, or you could text me. Yeah, Kevin knows that's the fastest way to get in touch with me. If you go into my voicemail, that might take a couple days.
So your contact information is on the flyer that was for today's show. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, great. All right.
And it's just Gina@yoursocialrx.com, but it's on the flyer for today's show. Yeah.
Wonderful. All right. Well, that's great. All right. That was a lot, and my head hasn't exploded yet, so that's good news. And we really appreciate the information. We're trying to we're giving everyone ways to work your business, get in front of people. And with the potential refis that are coming down the pike right now, let me just remind you that the servicing departments of the companies that already hold your clients' loans
are going after them like crazy.
They are all over your clients. So you need to be first and second and third, and make sure that you are a loud voice for your clients right now, or someone else is going to pick them up.
Swoop
So
in.
with that being said, Kevin, you're done.
Before you go, Audrey,
Yes.
something really important. Audrey, you're about to interview who?
Oh, the insurance commissioner for the state of California.
Like he doesn't talk to
Wow.
anybody. He's like in a cave somewhere.
I am really
Interviewing him
looking, yeah.
live in a couple hours. And hopefully if the microphones work and everything else and the video works, we maybe have that up on YouTube. Another reason to subscribe to YouTube so you can get that interview with the insurance commissioner.
I don't have plans to record it, honestly. I don't know.
I bet Jason's gonna record it.
What?
Hopefully Jason's recording it.
We'll see. And my thought is maybe, I don't know, maybe we'll see. I'm just gonna see how it goes. I don't have any, grand illusions about what's gonna happen, but yeah, it'll be interesting. And
or if anyone is down in Southern California near Newport Beach, they can actually catch the interview live. What time's it at?
1 o'clock.
1
Yeah,
o'clock.
I have a feeling that room.
The Hyatt, Hilton, which one is it?
It's the Hyatt, Newport
Newport Beach.
Yes.
You're on there right now, summer camp.
Yeah, it's been a really, they've done it.
Professionals.
Yeah, Dale and Jason have done a really good job of leading the team and making this a successful event. And really, it's a good energy here right now. So anyway, it's been great. I'm really looking forward to an hour from now. So on that note, I gotta go, but it's been great. Gina, thank you so much as always. And I really encourage people to reach out to Gina. She has a servant's heart. She's really interested in helping all of us. She's so patient and kind. She and I have a long history. She remembers when I basically didn't want to even turn on a computer, and I have come light years from there, and she'll help you too. So anyway, thank you again, and we'll look forward to seeing everyone next week. Bye guys.
Okay, see you guys.
All right,
Go get
see you
some
guys.
loans.
See you,
There's
Jen.
plenty of loans. Go get them.